I'm Sean Bose, concert visual designer in Los Angeles, California. And today we're talking to Jash Reen, co-founder and creative director of the studio Wolves. Wolves is a visual agency based in Mumbai, India that over the last decade has grown to be known around the world for their incredible quality of their visuals. They're one of my personal favorite content studios out there right now, putting out incredible work for artists like Excision, Sullivan King, rappers like Lil Baby and Big Sean, and even pop stars like Mariah Carey and Shakira. Many others, too many to list. Not only that, they're a VJ crew that performs at festivals around the world, including EDC Vegas and EDC Mexico and Sunburn in India. You can find them online at Wolves Visuals on Instagram and wolvesvisuals.com. Jash, thanks so much for being on the show.
Dude, thanks for having me. In terms of content, follow artists that you like. Don't just follow their work and feel like it's unattainable. Break that down and kind of find your own Frankenstein, the way you would put things together. You say when you're making content, you don't have to look beyond the movies and the games you play or just the visual art that you appreciate. It looks like a lot at first, anything looks unattainable, but you take it, you freeze it piece by piece, you give yourself a target in a day, okay, today I'm going to learn how to do the background, then I'm going to learn how to do the foreground, and you put those pieces together, and along the way you're going to get your own style, which is I think the funnest part of it, which is way more fun than just following a tutorial A to Z.
Watching other people's stuff and really trying to dissect and reverse engineer it and take the pieces out and then combine that with something else to make something next level of your own. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about content and how that side of Wolves began.
The first thing that we wanted to get right is not just throw a bunch of flat renders onto the screen. We wanted to match the perspective in every sense. So if the stage is a bit higher than you, we want to be feel like you're looking up at something. So the camera perspective is adjusted in that way. It's not just flat renders on flat surfaces. So the whole point was with the minimal lighting and with the set design, you wanted it to seem like theater almost, like a magic show. You can't tell where the content starts and ends. A good example of that is we did a merry-go-round for Escape for Insomniac. So we did this haunted merry-go-round ride, and we did it in the right perspective. And prior to that, we'd be big on backgrounds and overdoing the scene to the point that it feels edge to edge, it's filled up. But for that show in particular, we just left a lot of dark spots. I mean, that changed. When we looked at it, it felt like that merry-go-round was there, in thin air. So I think playing with that and getting to that realization was fun in terms of the way we create content. And another big thing that shaped our style altogether is that being a VJ, you can't come up with custom content for every minute of the show. So we had to find a way around that, and we thought of using custom frames. So they're just content that borders each of the screens, and instead of just having them be PNGs or something, we kind of mess around with the animations on them. And initially we were a little bit scared because we're this is kind of a stupid idea. But then once we felt personally happy with it, we started taking bigger chances. I think Lost Lands, I think every year we try to push what goes into that smaller frame area. Whether it's a dragon breathing fire, or it's a snake that moves over the entire thing. Just to give a few examples, but being limited to just that edge is kind of fun for us. And the usability of a frame, making animated frames is it helps us a lot because in times when you don't have custom content or you're using the artists, the DJs, the content that they give you, that's a whole new world. You can still keep the stage branded at all times, and you can still play with layers and really mess around. So I think those two were the pillars of the kind of content that we create, for sure. Everything that we visually described since then has been an extension of video games. For example, when I was talking about understanding perspective, the latest Mortal Kombat game, Mortal Kombat 11, we took each level design apart. And then there were things that we saw in there that we would have never got from any other medium. The way they handle the depth, because the entire game is a battle. And you're looking at one camera the whole time. So how they manage to extend the levels depth-wise to kind of keep it interesting throughout the entire thing. There's a lot you can learn by picking your medium of choice and tearing it apart. So Yeah, the biggest thing that I think we ended up doing was pick up Unreal, and the craziest thing is the whole thing was free. So I got Unreal immediately, and I tried to, like, the first test I did was try to figure out how we can get resident visuals into Unreal on a flat plane, you know? Once we figured that out, we started using our same attention to content, I would say, to design levels around them. And we were able to convince a few people to go ahead with virtual shows, which I want to be very clear, it's not a medium that I prefer. Like, I really love like the live medium, which is why I got into it. Like, you know, so, but at the time I was like, because everyone is using that new normal word so much that I was like, yo, you know, you got to get into this and you're going to make it look good. Like, for people to kind of want to watch this or get into this medium. But once the world started opening up again, it's not that we just tossed that away. It's that we saw like how we could use Unreal moving forward. Like, before that, we were just using Cinema 4D and Octane and like these crazy long render times, and which we still do, but like you can throw together like full cinematic sequences in Unreal real time. So I think that whole period and that learning with Unreal is like, it was almost godsend for us. And now that everyone's asking for Unreal. And I think the reason is because it's just like clients get to see stuff real time and they get to ask for changes more, like, you know, faster, which then makes it a very tedious tool. But if you're using it for the right client, I think the possibilities are like endless. There's also a lot of people right now are doing stuff real time with it at live gigs, where they have like another computer set up with Unreal and DMX lighting and like moving pieces and things like that. And I think that changes the game a lot. You can kind of build your narrative or your content over the course of a show, like with these preset blocks. So like, you know, you're basically playing Legos live, which is fun. And obviously the other big factor to like get into Unreal was like also the video game side of things. Like, the language it speaks is so welcoming to us, because the way you approach the level in video games, like I was discussing earlier, is how we were kind of approaching visuals from the get-go. And like, it's actually the same software that they use to make the games that we love. So it's full circle. But at the end of the day, dude, like, we're displaying our work on the biggest billboard that you could ask for. Like, you know, like so many people are seeing it, and like, and you can try all sorts of stuff, and like people are just standing there looking at your content for like hours on end. So I'm blessed to have that canvas, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. It's good for all of us that people are becoming more aware of their visual show and really wanting to make it an experience.
We are the ones that are kind of growing in this industry together. We're trying to show them that there's better content, there's more cinematic things that we can do, and there's better narratives and stories that we can tell with like concert visuals. And like, once everyone got on board with that, we realized there's a lot more to it than a traditional CD studio.
If you like this clip, be sure to check out the playlist of all of the full interview episodes, and make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Thanks for watching. Peace.